UIM coverage, what that stands for, it pertains to auto insurance. The UM is uninsured motorist, and the UIM is underinsured motorist. And these are two coverages you can get for under your own insurance policy. And what it pertains to, the uninsured motorist is pretty self-explanatory there. If you get in an accident and it's caused by a driver who doesn't have insurance, this uninsured motorist coverage will provide coverage for you. And you may be thinking, well, why would I need this coverage? State law requires insurance, but there are plenty of drivers out there who don't have any insurance coverage, whether it be from just not knowing, maybe their insurance lapsed and they don't realize it, or they just don't care, or they can't afford it. So if you get injured by a driver who doesn't have insurance, this uninsured motorist coverage that you would get under your own policy could potentially provide coverage for bodily injury and medical expense. It's not required in Ohio. Insurance companies have to offer it, but it is not one of the required coverages in Ohio. So you may want to think about getting this coverage, because there was a recent study a few years ago that basically concluded maybe around 13 to 15% of motorists on the road don't have insurance. So it's potentially risky to be out there on the road, get injured by an uninsured motorist. There may not be any way for you to get compensated for your injuries. These uninsured motorists usually don't have many assets and are probably uncollectible. So that's really the purpose of uninsured motorist coverage. It's just sort of a safety net under your own policy in that event that you get injured by an uninsured motorist. Underinsured motorist coverage, it's a similar concept. The coverage is under your own insurance policy, and many times it's bundled with the uninsured motorist coverage. And underinsured coverage pertains to getting injured by another motorist who may have insurance but doesn't have adequate insurance to cover your bodily injuries, medical expense, any other damages you may suffer. And it really comes into play because, at least in Ohio's minimum coverage requirement is $25,000 per person per accident, with $50,000 total per accident. So say you are the only person in a vehicle, you get rear-ended, you get injured, the other driver has the bare minimum policy of $25,000 liability coverage. That's the maximum amount you're going to have available to you in that accident from the other driver's insurance. And just think about how much medical expense and how quickly that can sort of rack up, especially if you have an ambulance bill. Ambulance bills nowadays are a couple $1,000s. You add in x-rays and MRIs, those are each a couple $1,000s. Various chiropractic treatment if you're going to your primary care physician. So the bottom line is $25,000 really isn't a lot of coverage. So that's why that underinsured motorist coverage is available for you. You know, say you get injured by a driver with minimum coverage, $25,000, and say you happen to have $100,000 underinsured motorist coverage. What that means is you'd have an additional $75,000 of insurance coverage on top of the other driver's $25,000 policy. Basically, you take that liability insurance coverage, subtract that amount from your underinsured coverage, and that's the amount of underinsured coverage you would have available. Again, in Ohio, it's completely optional. Insurance companies have to offer it, but Ohio law doesn't require the underinsured coverage, just like the uninsured coverage. Again, it's something you may want to think about having. One, just considering that, as I mentioned, there are a number of drivers without insurance, but also just because of Ohio's minimum coverage requirements, since they are pretty low, there are plenty of people out there who drive with the bare minimum coverage. Again, this UIM, underinsured coverage, is just there to protect you as a safety net in case you get injured by someone who just doesn't have the adequate coverage.